acknowledgement. In an act of reconciliation, the town of High Prairie acknowledges that we're on the homeland of the many diverse First Nations and Métis people who have walked this land since time immemorial. We are grateful to work, live, and learn on the traditional territory of Treaty 8. So with that, we can go to the adoption of the agenda. Is there any additions? Seeing none, someone like to make a motion? Councillor Yashishin. Well, that wasn't your hand going up for that?
It was. I make the
Oh,
motion.
okay. All in favor?
Good recovery.
Yeah. I saw your hand go up. Yeah.
You hit the scratcher either.
Yeah, it was like in an auction.
All right, and no scheduled delegations, public delegation? Oh.
Hi, good evening, Council. Chris Clegg is a citizen here tonight. I want to talk about the outstanding citizen nominations. I don't want the disaster, and that's what I call it, personal opinion, what happened last year. Can Council put in some sort of rule that they would phone the candidate and get approval before it goes to press? Because I don't want to report like I did last year. Guys dropping in and out and this and that. I want to avoid that at all costs. And I would suggest, I think you guys should want to avoid that too. So I don't know if you've taken steps since then to fix that problem.
Yeah, I don't.
You're aware what I'm talking about. You remember, okay?
Yeah, yeah. I know we haven't talked about it. I don't know if administration's talked about it or not, but and probably not, because Bill wouldn't have been here last year and wouldn't have been on his radar at all. But yeah, we can bring that up. And
Yeah, I just think it's something that could be avoided pretty easy with a phone call. And, you know, things happen. I'm not blaming anyone for what happened last year. You would hope that people would accept the nominations and whatnot instead of what we went through. And I don't care if them two parties are hearing what I'm saying.
yeah, well, and I
I
think
just
what,
don't want to report on that again.
it's probably the best part of the forum where it just says, you know, the person accepts this nomination, or you've contacted the person and they accept this nomination.
I think council still has to make that call, or the administration.
Yeah,
The form thing to give permission, I just think a call should be
It's
made, just
just-
my opinion, but.
yeah. Well, we can talk about it and see how,
Yeah, so just a suggestion,
because it is closing in a few days, so it'll be good to,
yeah, I'm trying to prepare a couple myself again this year, so.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
okay. All right, moving on then to our minutes. Can get a motion on the minutes from March 14th. Go ahead, Councillor Wakel.
I'll move the council approve the minutes from March 14th, 2023, regular meeting of council as presented.
All right.
Judy has an edit for us.
I have an edit for you. There was a motion that I made coming out of closed session and it doesn't appear in the minutes.
All right. And two things on that. Yeah, we did talk about that just so we didn't lose track. And then there was the other thing that can we make motions without a member of administration here? So I know what you're saying, but I don't know, and do we need, we're supposed to have a member to make any motions? So maybe that's why it wasn't on here, because there was nobody present to record that.
So is there any way that can be added to the minutes before it's logged electronically?
I don't know, I'll leave that up to administration to figure out, can we log it and do it? I know we were okay with making it and we wanted to make sure we didn't lose the concept, and I know we're talking about it tonight, so it's not lost or hasn't gone anywhere, right? It's still there. So it's going to be dealt with. But I don't know how else we can do it. I don't know we can. Do you have any ideas, or are you You're concerned about it being in there, knowing that we're gonna deal with it?
Well, like we discussed, there should be motions coming out of these in-camera sessions, so it's easy to reference to, and also we're
Yep, no,
stating what we talked about in an in-camera session, not releasing all kinds of information, but
no, I know what you're saying, and then I know the other issue is that we had, yeah. So are you all right to leave it like this for tonight? And then we'll work on it, make sure we get that better next time because that one was unique, right? We don't usually not have a admin or admin here to work on it.
okay, but it will show up sometime in the minutes or a closed session that this was being discussed, or
Not in these minutes. That's what I'm saying. It would be, it's gonna come out tonight, right? Because we're talking about it, and that's what it'll be, because we wanted to table it. That was the motion to table it, and we're tabling it till tonight.
okay, so it'll show up in tonight's meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Okay, so we had the motion to receive as presented. All in favor? Carried. Moving on then to the outdoor arena update. Can I get a motion on this? Okay, John, or Councillor Dunn. Sorry, I gotta
That
get
council
done.
accept the report outdoor arena update, Sports Palace used boards for information.
Okay, thank you. And I see that we have Ramona here. You want to talk on this one? I know you're just putting it in for our information at this point.
If anybody has questions, I can, but otherwise, basically information. I just got a comment.
I'm glad that you gathered everyone together, got them on the same page instead of 3 different committees going for the same thing.
I agree, definitely.
So they're working on a place to store them and keep them when they get them?
The plan right now is to store them at Marigold's. If that lot isn't approved for the arena, then Jerry Hubert has plans to move them out to an acreage until they find a spot in town.
Okay.
So what has to happen for that lot to be approved?
Right now, Marigold's has to do a development application. I told them that that's the next step, so the ball's in their court right now. And if it's not approved at Marigold's, then they're going to find a different location, but Marigold's plans to not be a part of it. Which they
Councillor
will.
Yushishin?
So it's the open lot right on the highway then?
Yes.
And there's, so would they have, like, it's just a question because I'm just curious. Would they have like what if pucks are flying over or whatever? There isn't there's not really a fence there, it's just the metal fence, right?
It's a chain link fence and they plan to get golf ball size netting.
Oh, I see. So
It's
they
quite
would-
expensive, so I told them that that's, like, this is all preliminary stages. So they want to apply for a grant for that. ATCO has apparently not confirmed, but has mentioned that they would donate posts and like lights for it, so. But it would have to be a pretty high net, and I mean, you can get them as high as you want, but it takes a little while to manufacture them. They usually come out of Quebec and they are pricey, so,
Right, yeah. Yeah, it'd be quite unique along the highway like that, for sure.
yeah.
So I
Councillor?
just want to confirm, so you said if it's not going to be at Marigold's, then Marigold won't be involved?
Yeah, because they just want it to be on their site. So if somebody else has it on their site, then they'll kind of just hand it over to them looking after it. Their goal is just to have an outdoor rink, period, so. And the groups all agree. They're really, really amicable, so.
All right, no other questions? Thank you. We had the motion to receive for information. All in favor? Carried. Going on to new business. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that quick.
And get a motion on 8.1. Councillor Shishin. She beat you on this one again.
Okay, that council accept the report naming rights, Aquatic Center lobby for information.
All right. So this is a done deal, is it? They've signed it and gone off, and this was part of our package price and everything?
Yes, and the promo store was supposed to come to the aquatic center today, but they didn't show up, so I'll give her a call in the morning and remind her. But that was just to get their graphics going. And so it'll say, when you come in, it'll say the Nordic Mechanical, probably services lobby. And then each year they're going to do 2 sponsored swims, so yeah, I think it'll be good for the community, and it'll show when those trucks are parked outside and they're working that they're giving back, which is what I asked them to do. I said, you know, we're spending a lot of money with you guys fixing everything, and I think it would look really good to both councils if you were to sponsor an advertising package, and that's what they chose, so.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, good news. I like good news.
Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thanks.
making this happen.
You're welcome.
Councillor Danaka.
I need somebody to refresh my memory. Cause we had been looking at naming rights of either the sports palace, the pool, the arena, whatever. And I believe it was Rod who was working on that, and I can't find it anywhere on our website. Do we have a policy on naming rights?
We do have a package, and that's why I was asking, a package on, you know, naming rights, and it could be, you know, down to the smaller things to the bigger things like the swimming pool or the arena. So there is a sponsorship package that's been put together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what is that under, if I wanted to go find it?
Good question.
I
don't-
actually don't think it is on the website. That's a good point. We should
Yeah.
put it on there. Cause I do have it at the front desk here and whatnot, and I email it to people all the time.
Yeah.
Can you email it to me at my Gmail?
Sure, I can send it to all of you. I think everybody's seen it, but I can
I
definitely do.
probably have, but it's just not in
Yep.
my head.
She's looking at the naming rights on the arena.
I'm still working on
the
that
Donna
too.
Danaka Sports Palace. That's what she wants, so, yeah.
I don't think Rod was working on the naming rights so much, but I have been since I got here, and I'm fingers crossed right now.
All right,
See, Councillor Gilroy was a big driver behind that. Remember? Back in the day, he was big on that. He was pushing that, and I thought something was in the works.
I did make mention several times during Red Wings broadcasts that we were gonna be getting new ice and boards and whatnot, and if somebody had $1.2 million burning a hole in their pocket, that they should contact the town of Highbury. So, I'm trying.
Good.
That's good, me too.
So, even though it's in the sponsorship package, should we or do we require an actual policy for naming rights? No? Okay.
And we have approached, you know, some of the bigger companies for naming rights to see, and, yeah, it's still, there's still possibilities there, so hopefully something good will come out of it.
Are they concerned they're gonna have too many Baytex arenas?
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
I just think we should have something concrete to reference to.
Well, there is that sponsorship package document that
Okay.
talks about amounts.
Okay, maybe
and-
I should read that first, and then if I have any concerns, I'll bring it back.
Sure, yeah,
Okay.
and it talks about sort of the dollar figures for for this or for that.
Right.
And, I mean, some of those are negotiable, especially on those big ticket items. but
Right.
That was the idea.
Right.
See, I'm in favor with what Donna's saying, because remember when when they wanted to put up the mural, we took it to the bylaw committee and we made a policy so that any kind of art or names or murals are tactful and non-offensive, and I agree with Donna, we should have a
Well,
policy.
that's kind of where my train of thought was with naming rights. Like,
We're not gonna make it complicated, we just wanna,
No.
like the mural, it's gotta be tactful and non-offensive and, yeah.
right, and,
I
yeah,
will make sure of that as well, that they
and
will be
stuff,
taxed,
so.
for sure.
We'll take a look at what we get on that sponsorship package, and then if we need to do more, we can look at doing more.
Okay,
Seems like that. All right, anything more on the naming rights? Seeing none, we had the motion for information. All in favor? Carried. All right, we have the Alberta municipalities resolutions. And get a motion on this. Councillor Dunn?
The council discussed the 2023 resolutions and receive for information.
All right, and I can give just the background of it. I know because I was going to this, they sent these resolutions to me, and I figured, well, yeah, we should find out what council thinks, and we can vote that way on these resolutions. So it's a council vote, not a Brian vote. So the first one was the lack of consultation between Alberta Health Services, the provincial government, and municipalities.
That's on the runway. That's why that was a hard motion to make, because usually when we receive for information, it means we're just filing it. I would have, sorry, John, but, that council discuss and take action on these resolutions, because these are pretty hot topics.
Well, I think the action item here will be to, support this vote in there, right? Like that's or not, right? Do we support this? And if we do, then we know how to vote and at that spring leadership caucus there.
Yes, but you know what I'm saying? When we receive for information, it's just like, okay, we filed it.
Yeah, well,
But you have to start with the
Yeah,
motion to
exactly.
discuss.
Yeah,
Yeah. yeah, and I mean, so I know what you're saying, and I don't know what more we would be able to do other if we can get Alberta municipalities on side. They're gonna do far better than the little town of High Prairie trying to lobby for this. They will bring it forward and get it going at the provincial level better than we would. Not that we can't keep lobbying for it, but that's, I think, the best way we can move it forward.
Well, that's why we're part of Alberta municipalities.
Exactly.
So that these important issues like this that face not just us, not just Pinoca, but every small town. Because if High Prairie and Pinoca want to talk to Alberta Health Services about this, they'd be like, But if Alberta municipalities with the strength of, 100 and some or 200 and some municipalities behind it says, hey, listen up, well, now they gotta listen.
That's right. And it isn't, I mean, and we talked about Spear River at the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's in other communities, so in my thing, we gotta support this one.
They're hiding their list of who's on the chopping block also, so.
So does anybody not agree with supporting this? Everybody's in agreement. Okay, let's take a look at the other one then, which is strengthening the provincial regulations to improve the safety of unlicensed private day homes. Does
Hey.
anybody not support this?
Okay, so that's a tricky sentence, all right?
Exactly.
Because it says it's an unlicensed. So what is the provincial government doing in an unlicensed?
So how would they know?
Exactly.
How would they know?
Exactly.
If I had a day home, I mean, in a small town, yeah, you probably would, because people are saying, oh, I take my kids to, you know, I take my kids to so-and-so, and then it's like, well, are they licensed? Well, no, she just babysits in her home, so how is, unless somebody complains to the government saying, oh, so-and-so has a unlicensed day home, can you
But-
check their certifications?
So, so that's actually what took place, right? Is there were deaths that caused by those day homes that created the need to look at how we regulate unlicensed, because there has to be something. You can't just let children continue to die in unlicensed day homes. So we need to, and that's why, like, I support this. I have some serious questions around the fact that they're saying that unlicensed day homes don't have to have criminal record checks. Because in my understanding, anybody working with children has to have a criminal record check. So I don't know about that, but there is a need to, and I know it's unlicensed, and I know that government shouldn't be involved in that. However, there has to be something put in place so that children are not abused, don't die in that type of care, right?
I understand that, like, I mean, I'm fully supporting this, but my
Yeah.
question is, if somebody has an unlicensed home,
How are they gonna know?
how are they gonna know that it's an unlicensed home, let's, as an example, I hire out my services as a babysitter and people bring me my kids. Is it up to the parents to check that I have a criminal record check, or just because they know me for 20 years, I look after their kids? Like, that's my only question.
Yeah, yours is the enforcement and how are they gonna market and promote it, right? But I mean, what they're really looking for is making sure that they have first aid, CPR, criminal record checks, and vulnerable sector checks. So it's a little bit more regulations, but not a ton of extra regulations. To me, it's sort of a minimum that, yeah, it's a good idea. Councillor Wakel?
I think that as far as finding out, like, they'll get ratted out, right? Hey, where do you send your kids? Oh, I send them over to Donna's place, since you used yourself as an example. I'm going to continue to do so. Oh, okay, cool. And then somebody will come over and knock on the door and say, hey, you got your crim check, you got your first aid? No, you're done, right? Like, I'm fully in support of this.
Who's knocking at my door,
Um,
is what I'm saying.
John.
So,
Like, is somebody gonna rat me out to the RCMP, and so the RCMP will come to my door?
You know what?
Or is Sasha gonna come to my door and say, hey, do you have this? And I'm like, well, no. Is she going to go to somebody and say, hey, this person has this day home or babysitting service, whatever you wanna call it, but she doesn't have these certifications, so what's the process? Like, I mean, I'm in favor of this. To me, this makes sense, but I'm just trying to do the logistics around it, because it's like, okay, how is this gonna work?
And I think we can make the motion, and then when they look at doing this and implementing it, they will have to look at those kinds of details, because they'll have to figure out
And that
how will
might
it,
be discussed in this resolution at the
it might end up
conference
there.
that you're going to in 2 days.
Yeah, and just to say, it has to have a way that it's going to be enforced and looked at.
Yeah.
But these are the questions we want you to bring to,
Yeah, I could
you
bring
know, like,
something like that up.
because it says, that's why I said it was a tricky sentence, strengthening provincial regulations in an unlicensed home. We're talking about private homes that no one knows about, other than a few people that bring their kids. So how are they gonna enforce this? Like, yeah, we are for it, but
Okay, I can, bring that up or see if it comes up for sure, and I mean, if you're watching your sister's kids, are you now a unlicensed? No?
No, that's in here.
Oh, is it?
Family
okay.
doesn't count.
Oh, okay. So you have one of your friends over now, it's an unlicensed day home, right? One
Well,
person?
basically, but yeah, the family is specifically mentioned in here.
Oh, okay.
As, if grandma or auntie is watching the kids, that's just part of the family dynamic. But my other concern with this, maybe I'm being petty here, but it's at the bottom of page 2 of 3 there. Stats Canada reported in 2001 that 62% of childcare providers in Alberta were unlicensed. My God, have we not got something more than, that's more than 20 years old? Right? Like, the kids that they're talking about on here have got their own kids now. I mean, that's, to me, that jumps out. What's that number today? Maybe that's a question that can be asked as well. I'm in favor of it, but like everybody else, yeah, there's some questions around this.
Councillor Shishin.
And just to add to that, so at the bottom of page 2 of 3, it says, it's time for Alberta municipalities members to add their collective voices to the call for provincial accountability for improved safety and oversight of unlicensed private day homes. So, I think that's really key there, because it's calling for provincial accountability, all the voices together, Alberta municipalities, right? So,
Yeah, and I think that's because Calgary has already started
Yeah.
enforcing some of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not, the thing is, there's gonna be, they're gonna be able to determine, or they're gonna state in what they set out, that it's continuous. There's continuity in providing care. It's not babysitting. It's not them going to somebody's home for a visit overnight or anything. That does not constitute a day home or a caregiver, right? There's gotta be continuity there, and there has to be evidence of that. So that'll be stuff that is all fleshed out when they come down with what it looks like, but there is gonna be a way to determine what makes up one of those homes, so.
Okay, we had the motion that, now we do say in here that we've discussed it and we weren't gonna make a motion. I mean, we could make a motion if we wanna support it. I've got the marching orders, I know where, what I'm gonna be doing down there, but if we want to, we can amend the motions. I don't know what you guys are thinking, I don't know. Do you wanna say we support these two actions? Okay, so this was Councillor Dunn. You made the motion. Would you like to do a friendly amendment to your motion?
So I'll amend it that we, do you wanna take action on that? Is that
Well,
what
we
you're saying?
support,
That
we will support these
at the-
two
at the conference?
resolutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I make that motion, that
Okay.
we support this at the resolution, at the conference you're attending.
All right. All in favor? Carried. And-
Just want to put, Judy, on the background, about 6 lines down, private day homes or businesses, that's the line that talks about family being exempt.
So moving on to item 8.3, the rodeo sponsorship. Can I get a motion on this?
I'll grab that.
Okay.
The council direct administration to contact the Elks regarding doing an in-kind donation, as the town has done in the past, in exchange for utilizing the town flag during the grand entry, and approve a sponsorship package of $350 to support the 61st High Prairie Elks Pro Rodeo.
Sorry, Ed, what amount did you have there? So
$350.
my motion. Do we want any discussion?
Yep, oh, absolutely, we gotta have discussion, so I'll open it.
So I was going with the 350 because in-kind donation, that's our street cleaners, that's putting up barricades, that is time, labor, and equipment. So it totals more than 350 once. We've never really gotten a dollar total when we're doing this in kind, but there's fuel, wages, equipment hours, so it adds up. And last year we did sponsor the rodeo, the Elks 2 to 3 times.
Okay. Others? What? Go ahead.
So I was going to propose that, because we are, because this is a major event in our community, that we should be a major sponsor. And I was going to put out there, because we agreed at the, around that each of us had $5,000. And so I'm throwing out there that I will commit to 1,100 if there's somebody else that is willing to match that, and we could be a major sponsor for a major event in our community.
Okay, I just want to back up one more step because, and it's good that we've got Rita here, is because we have two different things. We've got sponsorships and we've got grants. And I mean, they're two different things. Sponsorships is more advertising, marketing, and buying stuff for that. A grant is a donation to a organization. So, I mean, and to me, there's a difference here. This isn't a grant, this is a sponsorship to put your name and have your flag out and that kind of thing, versus a donation to, you know, the tennis club to do something, right? Like, to me, those are different items. Now, this money, this 35,000, is that sponsorship or is that donations?
It is actually both.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has not been segregated to 5,000 here and 30,000 there. It's, when we spoke about it together in the budget, those two line items were put together, and you guys were to decide how you would distribute it.
Okay. Okay, we got our.
Is it okay if I just mention something?
Yeah, come on up. And,
Sorry, this is just information that you might like to have. The Elks did sponsor 2 swims last year, which came to $822 to the town.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention that.
And we donated to their silent auction, and they had a concert of some sort, a Gord Bamford concert.
It was just I think it was a family pass or something like that, or it might have been a membership. It didn't total $822 though. I just wanted to put that information.
thank you for the information. Okay, so this is part of that 35 where we each have 5. Okay.
Have we decided that that's how it's gonna go with the 5,000?
Yes.
That was,
Yes.
I thought that was just an idea that was thrown out there.
No, it was the motion that we would approve it based on that distribution. And this is where, you know, something new like this, how do we get it, right? This is where it gets a little bit tougher. So Councillor Wakel and Councillor Danaka.
I'll throw in the other $1,100 for my, unless there's other people that wanna do that, so we're not, you know, I mean, it's a major sponsor, it's a major chunk of that money. This is the premier event in our community. We just lost one. And like, I don't think the Elks are gonna go anywhere, but I sure as hell don't ever wanna lose this rodeo. This brings thousands of people to town, right? And if, you know, I think we can step up on this. So I mean, right now, we've got 2 people that are willing to split that, 2,200. If anybody else wants to step up, then let's do that.
Councillor Danaka?
So, I agree with Councillor Dunn. My initial response was to do a major sponsor, which is $2,200. If each of us contribute, Judy, from each of us would be $314.28. So there's your $300.
I have to absorb, I'm sorry, I was caught off guard with this 5,000 that we were allotted.
Oh, okay.
I have to absorb this.
So right now we have Judy's motion on the table. So I think we should vote on that, and then John had his.
Okay.
Yeah, well, no, we can finish discussing this. We're still discussing it, and then we can decide. But what I'm hearing is that people are willing to sponsor more than $340, right? That's what I'm hearing from some. So.
Right.
So we'll finish going around, and then we can go from there. Councillor Shishin?
Yeah, when I had looked through this and I put some thought to it, yeah, this is a major event for town and for the community as a whole. So I definitely would be interested in if it's the 3 ways or whatever, that it's important for me to contribute there.
All right. Councillor Martins?
Well, I agree with all of the comments so far. I think that this is a great event for our town, and I remember last year when this came up, I remember saying go big or go home. This year, I specifically heard from our ratepayers, and somebody called me out of the random blue about sponsorship dollars, and is it true that, I think that the person misunderstood this $5,000 that was sort of, allocated. And, but anyway, the message there was, and again, this is just 1 or 2 people speaking, but the message was, hey, just be reminded that the people would like for us to rein in some of those grant dollars. So I agree with every person that's spoken so far that this is a great event. We want to keep events like this in our community, the Treaty 8 hockey, the rodeo. It's already in High Prairie. There's a lot of press around the Elks Rodeo. It's associated with High Prairie, and I'm not sure that $2,000 will make the difference. It may very well. We'll be there in presence anyway. Our bylaw officers are, all of the things that our trucks will be out there with High Prairie. So I think we get a lot of sponsorship by just being there. Our ratepayers are there. We're there. So I agree. I'm totally in agreement. That's where I'll leave it.
Okay. Myself, I'm totally behind this event and think that we should sponsor it. It does get our name out there. That it is the town of High Prairie and stuff. So I think it is a good event that we should support. And I know we don't just support it in the way of a sponsorship here. I know we do more. As Councillor Stenhouse has mentioned, we do put up the barricades to support the parade and all of those things. But I still think the financial support is good for them also. And a lot of the money that they may take, or if we end up contributing and they don't use it and they end up with a profit, it ends up coming back to our community anyways. And it's things like sponsoring a swim. It's things like going to one of the donations to some of the organizations in town, or the Community Health Foundation, or whatever. That money doesn't leave the community. It goes back into the community in one way, shape, or form. So I'm fine supporting the Elks and their pro rodeo.
The other thing too is, over time, it's like 61 years or whatever, but there's a lot of, it is the High Prairie Elks Pro Rodeo, but over time and generationally, it's always been referred to as the High Prairie Rodeo. So that's sort of ingrained in people that it's the High Prairie Rodeo. So I think it's, again, it's one of these events that we need to get behind. Because on top of that, and the money that's generated from people that come into town, the Elks also put that money back into the community through donations through the hospital, CRC, the museum, the library, people who are in need of funding for whatever reasons. So they do put a lot of that money back into the community. So I think that we should really step up and be a major sponsor here.
Okay, so I'll throw it back over to Councillor Stenhouse. You've heard the discussion around the table. Are you willing to do an amendment to your motion, or do you want to leave your motion as is?
No, I'll leave it stand and you guys can defeat it, but, when you, again, I just want to comment on when you're saying sponsorship to get our name out there. Every time that announcer gets on the radio, you know, how many times do we hear High Prairie? It's already there. You're looking, you're saying that you want to promote our name, but our name is already out there. Every time, you know, welcome to the High Prairie Rodeo. Every time that gate opens up, it's High Prairie this. If you remember right, we went over and we couldn't support every organization that come forward. Also, our account ran really dry, and I had pre-warned you guys, be careful when we're giving out sponsorships at the beginning of the year. No, I'll leave my motion as stand, and you guys can vote on it.
Okay.
We'll vote on it.
So we had the motion, and basically at the end it was for the 350 or 250? 350, okay,
And
sorry.
in kind.
Yep. All right. All in favor? Opposed? It's defeated. Anybody like to make another motion? Councillor Dunn?
That council direct administration to contact the Elks regarding doing an in-kind donation as the town has done in the past in exchange for utilizing the town flag during the grand entry, and approve a sponsorship package of $2,200 to support the 61st High Prairie Elks Rodeo. Further, that the complimentary passes and tickets be made available to staff at the discretion of the CEO.
Go ahead.
So, I was wondering if you guys, so it was thrown out to the staff last year, but I'd like to see it come back to council and use those tickets. We've got Citizen of the Year coming up, and use those tickets to give to our Citizens of the Year or runners-up or something like that.
Okay. Other thoughts?
I just think we've taken some good steps in really connecting with our town employees, and that was a start, and then there's been steps throughout the year, and this is an opportunity to continue that and show them that as their council, we appreciate what they're doing for our community. That's my thinking behind that.
Okay, thank you. Other thoughts?
On the tickets, I actually like the idea of Citizen of the Year. I think we can do a lot more to recognize staff. I mean, this is just one thing, but I think that there's other opportunities to, and we've taken some steps to do that already this year, but I'm open either way.
All right, anyone?
Yeah, right, so.
Yeah. The other thing I'm just going to throw out, just as I'm looking at, I know we talked about the major sponsorship, and we've got the shoot sponsorship is what we did last year, was the shoot sponsorship. But then we also asked that we get our flag in the grand entry because we do the other in-kind stuff with them. So, and I mean, it's $250. I'm not, I'm not gonna sweat it, but it is just, yeah, just a thought there. Yep, go ahead.
I like both ideas, the staff and the Citizen of the Year thing, that's great. There's 6 VIP passes here. I think we can claw a couple, because we only do 2 Citizens of the Year, right?
Well,
And runners up, like, you know, cause we're not, that's giving back to the community, you know, not only just this piece of paper, but here you go. We have these tickets.
Well, some people have got some pretty big families. I think hold back 2 of the passes for our 2 Citizens of the Year who we nominate, and then the other 4 to be distributed among the staff at the CAO's discretion. Would you accept that as a friendly amendment, John?
yeah.
So, but we would still need 2 or 1 for sure for council to be part of, because usually either the mayor or a council member goes and participates in the rodeo and sits up in the VIP section. So we still need to keep at least 2 of those for councilors. And then you have 2 for the staff and 2 for the Citizen of the Year, or 1 for the citizen, because we only pick 1, but there's no runner-up.
I thought we picked 2
No.
for the year.
No, we
1.
did 2 years last time, that's why.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, well
Then that works then. 4 for the staff, 1 for our Citizen of the Year, and 1 for the mayor. Or whoever is gonna go up there and press the flesh.
Yeah, usually in there, I have in the last couple gone up and you give us a welcome from the town at the event when they do the grand entry, but, yeah. Okay, so what is the motion?
You got all that, Callie?
Yeah.
I'm still confused about this 5,000, like, oh, so it's,
Well, if we go with the major sponsorship, it's 6 VIP passes.
No, it's okay,
Oh.
go ahead, no, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still confused.
So the motion, if I'm got it correct, is that we would divide those up, 1 for, what did you say, 1 for, oh, here it is. 1 pass for Citizen of the Year, 4 for staff, 1 for mayor.
just bring
Or
it back to,
counselor.
why don't you just, like I said, bring it back to, give those tickets back to council. Then when we get it settled, then we just distribute it.
That's his motion.
Okay, yes.
And that's your motion, is the 1, 4, and 1? All right. All in favor? Opposed?
I'm still confused.
Okay.
Where's this
Money coming from, like, is it coming out of John's account, like?
Oh, right, we should, because of this, we now have to decide where is the money coming from. Good point. Okay, so does,
So the 5
Yeah.
of us that supported that would each
Alright.
cost us $440 out of our 5,000.
if everybody,
5 supported it.
Oh,
I don't know what,
5.
or
or
6.
6.
6 supported it, so that would change that. It
Yeah.
would be
So,
300
but-
and something.
We could check then with Councillor Stenhouse, are you willing to put any of your $5,000 towards the Big Lakes Rodeo event?
How much was it gonna be?
If you divide it by 7, the 2,200, so 2,200 divided by.
$314.28.
So that would still give you
Yeah, so,
Divided by 6 is 367.
So I think everybody's in favor of doing either or, except we have to clarify with you.
Was this a running total of our money?
Yeah,
Okay, oh, yeah, but I don't like, I want to donate, but I want the tickets to come to council. Like, I agree
council's
with
decided
Pat,
where they
I
wanna
know,
go.
I've agreed.
Council's already decided where they want them. That's what we're saying to you.
With John's motion.
Yeah,
Or,
You could play the part of deputy mayor and give the welcoming speech and.
I'm usually working both days in the food booth from sunup till sundown, and the night before, I don't have time to sit up in a booth because I'm volunteering.
Your cowboy hat would be on the whole day then.
okay. So I guess we just need a decision from you on what, if you're gonna put your 314?
No,
You're not?
No.
So is everybody all right with the 367?
yeah, so, yeah.
Everybody's all right with that? Okay. So we've got that in there. All right. Well, we better make a motion to clarify that, to make sure that we make a motion that, how do we make this, to make it clear? I know this is new.
Like this, I'll make the motion. What was the total?
There should have been two.
367 for 6 of us.
I make the motion that $367 come out of the sponsorship account of Councillor Dunn, Martin, the mayor, Weichel, Treese, and Danaka
Right.
to cover the sponsorship
Okay.
of $2,200, yes.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay.
I'm in favor, I guess, I don't know.
You're in favor of it, okay. So,
Yeah.
she's in favor of us spending our money, that's good, yeah.
I need to absorb this a bit more than what's going on.
Okay, we're moving on to item 8.4, Northern Lakes College Convocation. Got a motion on this one. Councillor Wakel,
I'll move that council approve Mayor Panasic, I can say it when I'm reading it, to attend the Northern Lakes College 2023 convocation on June 2nd, 2023 in Slave Lake. I assume you're available?
I am.
You're probably gonna be there anyway.
And I am going to be there anyways.
Are you wearing your college hat, or can you wear your town hat?
I will likely be wearing the gown and the regalia of the college. But then, I mean, at the flip side of it is when you're sort of your meeting and greeting afterwards, I'm there too, and I take that off and you're there.
So you
shaking
could
it.
literally introduce yourself.
Yeah,
Would
yeah.
the deputy mayor like to attend?
But there's the other thing, somebody else could attend also, right?
Well,
Yes, see, that's what I was hoping that the motion would be, that a member of council attend that.
Well, we can
because-
change it if somebody else really wants to go, and it's,
I'm open to that friendly amendment. That, just say that council approve a member of council to attend the Northern Lakes College,
Yeah.
2023 convocation on June 2nd in Slave Lake.
Okay, so now I have more.
More questions, is this by invitation only?
what do you mean by that?
So, when you say a member of council, so let's just say, I'm not doing anything, Donna's not doing anything, could 2 people show up, or do you need a specific number?
Well, anybody can show up for the convocation. It's a public event for anybody. There is a VIP room, sort of before and a little bit after, where you mix and mingle before and after convocation. And that's not open to the public, that's just open to invited guests.
Okay, but this was sent out to the town of High Prairie Council. So that's what I'm saying. What if 2 or 3 members of council say, hey, let's go to that? No?
No.
You need a number? You need a
It's
set
one.
number?
It's one.
It's one,
Yeah,
okay.
not every councilor in the region is invited. They invite one member from the councils in their service region is what they do. So, that's, and it's like, it's a nice event. Oh, we had Donna step out for a second, but we can go on with any other discussions on this. Is anybody else able to make it? Maybe we can ask that, or want to make it.
So far away, like it's.
Slave Lake.
No, the date.
We could be, I could be dead Tuesday.
Providing you're alive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Providing you're alive.
Oh, it's a Friday.
Providing.
So it's a Friday, so I'm out. Job and all that.
Providing you're alive.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Like, it's too far away for me to commit to it, but can't we leave it open, or how soon do you need an answer
Well,
for
we
that?
could just say that it, yeah, yeah, that the town of High Prairie will send somebody. I know I've mentioned that I would be there wearing my college hat,
Yes,
Um,
they're representing now.
as the college, and then, like I say, last year when I was there, I wore my college hat. You take off the gown, you're wearing both hats, right? You talk to, it's, yeah, either or, yeah. So we've got the amendment to approve the deputy, what was your? A member of council, okay? Any other discussion on that? And we can finalize that closer to the date?
Yeah.
All in favor? Carried. We'll just need to make sure we don't forget. I don't know if, I think it's our, we can just say that a member will be there.
Yeah.
And then they'll be able to send the information.
Just put it on the, as a reminder on the last meeting of, May.
Yeah.
Well, no, but we're going, but to remind council, the last meeting in May, just figure out which one of us is going to go.
We've committed to having somebody there. We can let them know that we'll have a member of council there. Okay, moving on then to our CAO's report and action list. Motion, please. Councillor Stenhouse.
The council received CAO action list for information.
All right. Now let's read all the tough questions here.
There's nothing.
On her list, how can we ask the question? I have a question.
Go ahead.
Are we still renting out the Gordon Buchanan Center to Alberta Health Services?
Do you want to field this one? Sure.
Yeah.
They are exiting the building this week. But we already have 5 large events booked in there for the summer.
If I could, through the chair. So Alberta Health Services gave notification that they were going to be leaving March 31st. I'm sure you've seen it in the papers and in the news that the government has pretty much closed every COVID center in the province.
It's because
I see 2 vehicles out there every day for the last year. So I was just wondering if they were still there.
March 31st.
I should clarify too, the 5 big events are the Gord Buchanan Center and 2 of them are using the auditorium. But one of them is a dance recital, so I'm hoping I can coax them back. I'm going to try. I have been trying.
Since you're on the hot seat, do we have gymnastics going on in the arena this year?
We will know that within, I keep getting dates pushed back, but it's because their coaches are supposed to perform in videos and send them in. And Terry Forsay said that there's one step left in that process, so then they'll open registrations. But she said if it doesn't work out, they're possibly in danger of folding, so. But she's definitely been trying really hard. You're welcome.
All right, any other questions for the CEO? Councillor Danaka?
On page 28, the 2023 Federation in Toronto, have you guys decided who's going? Because I think it was between you and Judy wanted to go. Have we guys decided which one's going yet?
We responded, I responded to someone, Administration Cali, right away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
All right, anything else? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Moving on to 14.1, Councillor correspondence. I guess we can get a motion on 14.0.
How about,
Or do we want to deal with these separately? This is just receiving both of them for information.
oh, yeah. Okay, I'll grab that.
You got that?
The council receive agenda item FCSS February report and letter of support for Northern Lakes College from ANCA for the pre-employment plumber program for information.
All right. Any discussion on these questions? We do have FCSS members. Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed?
I just have a question.
Oh.
I just have a question.
Oh.
So ANCA is supporting the plumbing
Right.
program. Do they need something from the actual town of High Prairie saying, we support that as well, even though we're a member of ANCA?
Yeah, you know what's ended up happening, I can give a little bit of background on that, is the letter went to our CAO and they needed an answer before this meeting, and if it was quiet, then they were just going to send the letter. And so because everything has to be in for the application already, then they weren't able to get time for it to come to council.
Okay.
So I think by default that we did not respond, and the way the letter came out, it was that we would have supported it. And yeah, so by default we did support it,
Okay.
that it went through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a comment now.
This is coming from FCSS. So if you go to probably the middle of the bulletin,
But we
Oh.
did vote
Oh.
on this. We're going back. Are we? So we had received them for information, and you didn't vote. So I asked if you didn't want to. Are you in favor of this? or
in favor, I just had that question.
Oh, okay. It was just too quick on that
Yeah.
one. Okay.
No, we voted on it, I missed my chance, but
You're okay with leaving your question? Okay.
I hope you guys read all those bulletin points.
Yeah.
Middle of the page.
All right, meeting of the whole, we needed to come up with a date. Last meeting, we gave a couple of options, and people were gonna check those out. And you know what, those were one of the things that I wrote on my, did you have them down? I had them on my other paper, but I left
April 22nd and 29th.
22nd or 29th, okay.
And I am only free on the 22nd.
Same.
Okay, does April 22nd work for others? No. Fine and everything. Yeah. Tim?
Early in May is gonna be best.
Okay. It's the 6th.
May 6th works.
Does the 6th work for people?
When's May long weekend?
It's the 24th, or it's May 24th, long weekend, or
You
around.
always call it May 24th, but.
The 20th
I
would
know,
be the.
but it's,
The 20th
it's
would be
late,
the-
right? Like,
It's 19th and 22nd, actually.
okay, it's the 22nd this year, yeah.
So it's the coronation of King
Yeah.
Charles III.
All right.
Which, and yes, I get that we're laughing, but we need to check that may be considered a federal holiday that might trickle down.
What?
The coronation of King Chuck,
Yeah.
which,
We
But it
haven't
might
had
be
a
in the morning,
coronation
right?
in a little while, so we're not sure on how that works.
Like it
I
might-
know the Queen's funeral, because remember we had this conversation
Yes.
when she packed it in, because we didn't know if it was going to be a provincial, holiday, right, like day off.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't, we don't
But
know,
this
so
would probably
we,
be 3 in the morning like the funeral was, right? Their time, or our time.
I don't,
Okay, but let's just leave it, if it does become one, we can deal with that and change a date, but is anybody not able to make May 6th?
Again,
I'll put it down.
me too.
Okay, well, let's go there, cause that's at least a date everybody at this point is able to attend, and hopefully everybody will still be able to make it. Okay, so we have a date, May 6th, we'll start at, what time? We started last time at 9:30? 9 o'clock? Yeah. Starting at 9 a.m.
Because we always think it's only gonna be a few hours and it's
Okay.
a whole day deal.
Oh, no, we know it's all day. Yeah, so we'll start it at 9 a.m. All right, so I'll make the motion that we have the meeting of the whole May 6th, 9 a.m. All in favor? Carried. Moving on then to our reports. Last time we started with me, so this time we'll start with Councillor Stenhouse.
Very good, now here's my comeback. So, I had never attended an FCSS meeting, but according to the FCSS report handed out to you, and this is actually kind of new to me, they accept payments from Big Lakes County for their utility bills, land taxes, issue dog tags, snow removal signs. Is there any chance that maybe we're a partner in that? We're a 50-50 partner in that FCSS. Is there any chance we could maybe cash in on some of these services? I also know that they do the Big Lakes County barbecue. They host that. They host a lot of things for the Big Lakes County. I was wondering if you, because I'm on that committee, are you guys interested in me approaching them for any of these services? That's what I'm asking.
like, having people being able to pay their town bills through FCSS?
Yeah, like,
These are the services that they provide. So yeah, they're doing it for Big Lakes County. Any of these services that the town of High Prairie is not involved in, would you like me to bring it forward to FCSS?
Which services are you referring to?
I am referring to the utility bills, the land taxes, the dog tags, the
Okay,
snow
where-
removal signs.
Where are you looking, just so I...
Go the middle of the bulletin.
What
Oh,
page is
okay,
this?
sorry, well, that's, yeah.
page 33.
Oh,
Page 4, or, yeah.
4 of their document, 33 of the
Yeah.
agenda,
Right.
specifically.
Yes.
And it's bullet number 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13.
Councillor Martins?
So why does it say Big Lakes FCSS as opposed to joint or High Prairie Big Lakes, you know? And I do see, like I know the ladies
I
from
see.
FCSS and they do come out to a lot of Big Lakes events. So is it Big Lakes or is it Big Lakes and High Prairie? Just a question.
It's joint, it's 50, it's like we put in, we hand over our grant money, which we match to them. And so it is a joint thing, that's, a good question why it's advertised and promoted as Big Lakes FCSS.
Cause I think it's administered through Big Lakes, cause we get the money, the not whatever it was that we paid them, and we just give it to Big Lakes for FCSS.
But that is a legitimate question.
True,
It
yes.
is, like, we fund it, you know, with our grant money that we receive, like a,
And it's specifically, the government sends us grant money specific to FCSS. And my understanding is because it's administered through Big Lakes County, that's why.
I know, Rita got a comment?
If I could through the chair. So the host authority is Big Lakes FCSS. The town of High Prairie purchases services and shares the services of that FCSS. So when they come to the town office that's in the Moose Deuce building, that's when they're operating under the umbrella of the town FCSS. But it is, the title or the host is Big Lakes County FCSS. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah. They do all of the administrative stuff, and we don't have to worry about that. And so they're taking a burden off of us by doing that.
It decreases the administration cost.
But yeah.
And sorry, Brian, and this just occurred to me, it may be that is because they're the administrator of it, that might be why you can pay your Big Lakes taxes and stuff through them. Maybe, I don't know. That's that you could ask that question.
so, but that's why I'm putting this forward to you guys, because I do know a few people who from the town that use FCSS, from everything to booking all kinds of stuff, and if this was maybe more convenient for them doing it that way or whatever, the question is, do you want me to bring any of this forward?
Councillor Martins?
So what, pardon the question, I mean, I haven't sat on this board, but what are our benefits then? We give them our grant dollars, plus I'm assuming the top up that is owed. What do our ratepayers get in exchange for that?
All of this
But that's what she's saying, they
information,
don't
other than
currently.
maybe the one
Right, okay.
issue. So they get, access mental health resources, operational technologies, Alberta Aids to Daily Living, everything else but. And from my perspective, I mean, we could, but there would have to be special arrangements put in place where how we would take money from them for somebody's land taxes, for the dog tags. And the FCSS is in the Moose Deuce versus here where they could come. From my perspective, I don't think it's a hardship to go from there to here to make those same payments. But I could be wrong. I know there would have to be a lot of administration to try and accept tax payments at FCSS versus at our office. So I'm fine with leaving it that way. I don't think we'd have a wealth of people wanting to go to FCSS to pay their taxes. But
I think we have the process in place, and anytime you include a middleman, exactly what you said, Mayor, that it increases administrative, like all of a sudden you're not receiving stuff on time and everything else, and then who do you blame? Do you blame the people that are supposed to come in and bring it to you, or do you blame the middleman who might have put it on the side of their desk and forgot about it? So, just some thoughts there.
okay, anything else in your report, Councillor Stenhouse?
Other than that, no, I have not had any committee meetings or attended anything. That's it. I move my verbal report for information.
All right, any other questions for Councillor Stenhouse? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Councillor Wakel?
Haven't really had any meetings. I did talk to Deanna and Brett about the rural renewal. Try and say that 5 times fast. Yeah. Rural renewal program. he's got some feelers out to see if there's any interest in the business community in sharing the burden of the cost of it. Their council was also a little taken aback by how much this easy to administer program was suddenly going to cost. So I think by the middle of April we should have an answer on that. And other than that, none of my other committees have met. Move my report.
All right, any questions, comments for Councillor Wakel?
Did he say that committee in the correct name?
Yeah, rural renewal, that's close enough, yeah. All in favor? Councillor Yashishin?
I have no report, none of my committees have met.
All right. Going to Councillor Danaka.
The only meeting I had was the High Prairie District Museum AGM. There's no change to the executive. We did have one new member, or one new person become a member. The budget was adjusted, being that somehow, I believe it was Councillor Stenhouse who had asked that the museum come and present why they wanted the increase in their ask, and that didn't happen. So the increase was not approved, so they had to amend the budget to last year's amount. Basically, hang on here. Basically, where's my list here? The museum, where is it? Can't find it. Oh, there it is. So last year, there was 341 school tours, 383 events and programs, 1,025 daily visitors, and 14,904 social media hits last year. Other than that, where's my other? The only new news regarding the museum is that the gun inspection was completed, that the firearms inspection that we needed because we have weaponry was completed, and we passed. The inspectors also took a tour of the museum and were quite impressed that High Prairie has such a yeah, thanks, I was getting it too. They were really impressed with the facility. Darlene, I think I mentioned it the last time that Darlene was dealing with a museum in Scotland regarding what we have been referring to as the key sword here. So she's still working with that museum, as opposed to it being a sword, they're describing it more as a dagger, based on some of the markings on it. So she's still working with them on that. And as soon as she gets more information from Scotland, I'll share that. Working on the Easter tea, and she's also applied for a grant for the summer student position. Hopefully we'll get that. Other than that, I move my verbal report for information.
All right, thank you. Anything for Councillor Danaka? No? Oh, go ahead.
Do they do any visitor information at all? No?
Not anymore, nope.
Okay, all in favor? carried. Moving on, Councillor Dunn.
I attended the Children's Resource Council meeting last night, and I just need to say that there has been a immense change in collaboration, and love that our new CEO is bringing in programming that works. We have to work together in communities around. We are the hub for a huge amount of communities, and so he's done a really good job in bringing all that together. And we had somebody talk about all the programs she's involved in, and it's pretty incredible to see the programs that are provided for children and mothers that are young mothers. Well, actually, any mother with a child can attend. So yeah. So it's and the thing is, I'm not sure if he's come and done his report, but I know that he has sent a letter stating that he's willing to do so. So maybe if we could set a time up for him to be invited, and I know he's pretty busy, but I'm sure he'd make time to come and do that. So I will move that my information be accepted as well. I'm glad I'm able to make people laugh. Yeah.
Anything for Councillor Dunn? Councillor Wagle.
I just want to reiterate that the CRC is a resource that I wish I'd been aware of when my kids were that small. So more for, you can pass this on to the committee. Whenever I do my Crazy James spot, I heavily feature CRC programming in it because I see the value in it. And yeah, so it's really good. And if Nal's going to come present to council, tell me he has to bring me a pizza.
Okay, we had the motion to receive for information. All in favor? Councillor Martins.
I have no report.
All right, thank you. And for myself, I attended a Heart River Housing meeting. The key point out of that one was their audit that took the bulk of the meeting, and they passed the audit, no issues there. I know Councillor Wakel set me up with a meeting with the owner of the Revolution Group there. He was in town and wanted to meet, and so I met with him, and his big question was around the rural renewal stream and wanting to be able to attract and get foreign workers in the community, and was wondering what our community was doing for that. And so I told him where we were at, that we did get approved, but now we're having issues trying to do the paperwork required, and we haven't got that worked out yet, or if we will be able to work it out. I also attended the Community Health Foundation meeting yesterday, and just the quick things on that is they're still working on getting their charitable status. There was a request put in that the group fund a pulmonary function test equipment, as opposed right now people have to go down to Grand Prairie to get one done, and the equipment isn't that much money, so they're hoping the group will fund it. We've asked the AHS rep to find out if AHS would perform those functions if we bought the equipment and got it here, so that's out there. And the other thing is they started talking about some fundraising ideas on how we could raise some more money for hospital equipment or other things like that. So that's where it is. Another item just out of interest, as I was contacted by Chris Brown, who does a podcast called Cross Borders, and he wants to do an interview, that would go on his podcast. So it's kind of, if you, yeah, I had never heard of it, so I just listened to a few before I said, yeah, okay. But it's just an interesting one if you listen to a few of them when I'm driving, and they interview, well, actually across Canada, various mayors, but he's actually originally from up in this neck of the woods was. Oh, do you? Oh, okay. Anyways, it was just something that's kind of neat that might be coming out of it. All right, that's my report. I move it for information unless there's any questions. Councilor Martins?
You left it like that, like a cliffhanger. What's the intention of the podcast? What kind of questions will you ask?
It's, the questions are, what got you interested in municipal politics? You know, why should somebody come to High Prairie? What are the big issues in the community? You know, when I listen to what he asked, those are some of the kind of questions that he would get at. All right, seeing no more, all in favor? Carried. We'll take a break and then we'll do our closed session stuff.